See, there's been times this season where you said, team isn't good at going small yet. And I look at the guys that Minnesota has. You've been successful in them in the past, going small. Different circumstances, obviously, but separately against Cat, against Rudy. Like, you've had a lot of notable moments with this team going small. Like, how do you kind of assess where you want to be as far as succeeding going small?
Just kind of see how the game plays out, what the game calls for, and so we've had success in the past, like you said, going small. But the biggest concerns is like just rebounding the basketball. That's been, one of our toughest concerns. But we're getting to the point where, we're getting better at, doing some things, going small, what we work on in practice. But we really haven't pulled it out in the games yet because we still got to get better. But, if it comes to a point where, we're struggling to score, we're struggling to get stops, then we'll definitely look at going small for sure.
Now, on the flip side of that, Zoo's played extremely well. James keeps talking after every game, basically, about how he's developed his partnership with Zoo in the pick and roll and everything. We've talked, Kawhi and Paul has talked about his presence defensively. Like, how important is it for him to establish himself against this kind of size that Minnesota has and has been successful with this season?
Yeah, it's going to be huge for us. I think Zoo's size and, they start 6'10", 7 foot, 7'2", I think, 3, 4, and 5, and so it's gonna be huge for us for Zoo to play well, play big, rebound the basketball, protect the paint, like he's been doing, so it'll be big for us.
James, this chemistry, Harden's chemistry with the team as a whole, outside of reps, I know these are high basketball IQ players. Outside of reps, what's allowed him to mix in well with his teammates and go on a roll now?
The number one thing I think is sacrifice. Not getting as many shot attempts, not running as many pick and rolls, but still making the right play every single time. And that's been the biggest thing for him fitting in. He makes everybody happy, getting 10, 11, 12 assists and, 2 or 3 to PG, 2 or 3 to Kawhi, 2 or 3 to Zoo, 2 or 3 to Norm, and just keeping everybody happy, keeping everybody involved in the game. And that's what's been big for us so far.
Hey, Ty, just wondering about what your view is on kind of facing different offenses night to night in the league this year. I mean, you had Phoenix and Toronto and Memphis and the Lakers and New Orleans, and now Minnesota plays really big. Like, do you see more diversity in the offenses that you face game in and game out versus, say, maybe 5, 8 years ago where it seemed like there was a little bit more of everyone trying to do kind of drive and kick, go or smaller type of thing?
Yeah, I think, teams now are starting to leave their bigs on the floor. When teams go small, the opposing teams are leaving bigger guys on the floor to just play chicken, basically say, okay, we're going to post you or we're going to offensive rebound. We're going to be big to try to protect the paint. And, it's going back towards, the bigs being involved and being a big part of the game now. So, which I like to see, and so different teams are, like I said, teams are different, in that regard as far as offensively, but you can see the trend of the bigs being more important to offenses and defenses as of late.
Coach, you mentioned James being unselfish, and that plays a big role in blending all those talents together. What's been the biggest key in getting guys to kind of accept the roles that they're in, and has that been a process that's been more difficult than you thought, easier than you thought?
Easier than I thought. These guys have all sacrificed tremendously, and just I think the constant communication with me and those guys, the constant communication with those guys talking to each other, every single day, and just that's the biggest thing is just making sure they're having a communication, understanding one another, especially when they're on the floor. And so they've been doing a great job of just putting in that work, the constant dialogue amongst each other, and then just trying to follow the coach's leads. And so we listen to them, they listen to us, and we all just try to get it right.
Do you think that's they're all sort of at a point in their career where they're more willing to do this than maybe in years past?
I'm not sure, because I didn't have them in other teams in different places, but here, it's always been about sacrifice and whatever it takes to win. And so when we got Russ, same thing last year. This year, wanting to go to the bench. And then, with James, less pick and rolls, less ISOs, less shots. PG and Kawhi, less pick and roll opportunities. So everyone just kind of let everybody be a star in their role and what they do well. And so it's been pretty easy for me to, as far as just, sacrifice has been pretty easy for me.
Harden, of course, throughout his career has always been so good at running the show and kind of setting the table for everyone else. How has that helped keep Paul George and Kawhi Leonard fresh this season, throughout games and throughout the regular season in general?
Yeah, I mean it's been great for us, and we've had some guys that did a great job for us, like Reggie Jackson was good, John Wall, Russ last year, but acquiring James, I think it allows PG and Kawhi, like I said, to get more catch and shoot threes, to be able to play off closeouts more, not having to pound and try to make every play for themselves or for the teammates. And so James has really, added to that dimension as far as making plays for everybody else. And then, the addition of T-Man starting, being able to guard the best player every night and allowing PG and Kawhi to kind of ease into defensively, now taking on that responsibility later on in the game.
Minnesota's obviously been really strong defensively. What are some of the early things you're looking for from your guys on offense?
One is, playing faster, trying to get up quicker, attacking early in transition, attacking early before they can get set. Two, making quick decisions. We can't hold the basketball, like I said, with their length and their size. It's very difficult to try to, penetrate and attack. So we got to make sure we're making quick decisions. And then the third thing is just making sure we're getting our slot cuts, making sure we're giving our guys room to play, not letting them load up and be able to have 2.5 defenders on Kawhi, PG, and James. And so that's going to be very important with our spacing.
Wolves have been asked a lot about with Anthony Edwards' emergence, whether it's his team or Karl Anthony Towns' team. You've coached some great players. You've got a lot of great players on this team. Whose team is it? Batman, Robin, Rhetoric. Is that overplayed?
Yeah, I think it is. It's neither one of their teams, but they're both great players, and so you don't want to see that come into play. Like when you have two great players, you don't want to see the dissension between two guys about whose team. Like they're both great players. They both lead the team, and so that's all they got to think about. Just worry about winning is the most important thing. And if you look and see how they've been playing, you see they both bought into listen, we're both, this high, we're both this caliber players. We're both, really good players, and so actually great players. And so we're not going to worry about the outside noise of whose team it is. Let's just be together. Let's play together, and let's win. And you see how they're playing this year.
So you got to coach Ed over the summer and everything, and all I heard was how he wasn't going to start, and then he made sure that he was going to start and take that step, leading the team, ball in hand especially, but also picking up defensively. Like, what was your experience like with him, and what can you tell us about what it was like just coaching him this past summer?
No, it was great. People talk about offensively how good he is, but they leave out the part like how great he is defensively. Be able to guard the ball, taking on the challenge one-on-one, the point of attack defense. When you talk about guys getting into the ball, on pick and rolls, hits your man before the screen hits you, like he's the best I've seen it, like just getting into the ball and being physical. And then, when he came into the gym, like I said, first day of practice, like he let everybody know, like, he was an alpha and he was a dog and he was going to attack guys. He was going to be great defensively, and that's what won him over with our staff and with the USA people of just coming in and competing at a high level and attacking right away. And so he wanted to try to separate himself, and he did that.